At 9:02 a.m. on April 19, 1995, a massive explosion ripped through the heart of Oklahoma City. The Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building, a 9-story structure bustling with morning activity, was instantly transformed into a scene of unimaginable devastation. This single act of domestic terrorism would become the deadliest in American history until the September 11th attacks, and it sent shockwaves of grief and disbelief across the entire nation. The day had started like any other. Federal employees were arriving for work, parents were dropping their children off at the building's daycare center, and the city was humming with its usual rhythm. Then, without warning, a Ryder rental truck packed with nearly 5,000 pounds of ammonium nitrate fertilizer and fuel oil detonated just outside. The blast was so powerful it was heard and felt miles away. It carved a massive crater into the street and sheared off the entire north face of the Murrah Building, exposing its floors like a grotesque dollhouse. Concrete, glass, and steel rained down as a plume of black smoke billowed into the sky. In the immediate aftermath, chaos reigned. Dazed and injured survivors stumbled out of the rubble, covered in dust and blood. The sounds of sirens soon filled the air as first responders rushed to the scene. But the scale of the destruction was overwhelming. Floors had pancaked on top of each other, trapping hundreds of people inside. Firefighters, police officers, and medical personnel began a frantic search and rescue operation, navigating a treacherous landscape of twisted metal and collapsing concrete. The stories that emerged from the rubble were heart-wrenching. One of the most iconic images from that day was of firefighter Chris Fields cradling the limp, tiny body of 1-year-old Bailey Almone. She was one of 19 children killed in the America's Kids Daycare Center on the second floor. That single devastating photograph captured the innocence lost and the profound evil of the attack, bringing the horror into homes across America and the world. As rescue efforts continued, the nation watched, horrified. The initial speculation in the media pointed towards international terrorists, a familiar narrative at the time, but the truth, when it emerged, was far more shocking. The investigation quickly led law enforcement to a man who was, by all appearances, an ordinary American. Just 90 minutes after the bombing, an Oklahoma Highway Patrol trooper pulled over a 27-year-old Army veteran named Timothy McVeigh for driving without a license plate. It was a routine traffic stop that would unravel the entire plot. McVeigh was not a foreign agent. He was a homegrown extremist, motivated by a deep-seated hatred for the federal government. His anger had been fueled by events like the 1992 Ruby Ridge standoff, and most significantly, the 1993 Waco siege, which had ended exactly 2 years to the day before the Oklahoma City bombing. McVeigh saw his attack as an act of war, a retaliation against a government he viewed as tyrannical. He chose the Murrah Building specifically because it housed federal agencies like the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, and the Drug Enforcement Administration. He intentionally parked the truck bomb near the daycare, later callously referring to the children killed as collateral damage. The revelation that the bomber was an American, a veteran who had once sworn to defend the country, was a profound shock to the national psyche. It shattered the illusion that terrorism was something that only happened elsewhere, perpetrated by outsiders. This was different. This was one of our own. The bombing forced the country to confront the reality of violent, anti-government extremism breeding within its own borders. The search for survivors and the recovery of victims went on for weeks. It was a grim and emotionally tolling task for the hundreds of rescue workers who sifted through the wreckage day and night. The final death toll was 168 people, including the 19 children. More than 680 others were injured. The victims were secretaries, agents, lawyers, visitors, and toddlers. They were mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters whose lives were extinguished in a single moment of calculated hate. In the wake of the tragedy, something remarkable happened. The people of Oklahoma City, and indeed the entire country, responded with an outpouring of compassion and resilience. This became known as the Oklahoma Standard. Volunteers from all over flocked to the city to help in any way they could, providing food, shelter, and support to the families and rescue workers. Donations poured in. The city united in its grief, but also in its determination not to be broken by hate. The trials of Timothy McVeigh and his co-conspirator, Terry Nichols, were followed closely by the nation. McVeigh was found guilty on all counts and sentenced to death. He was executed by lethal injection on June 11, 2001. Terry Nichols was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Their convictions brought a measure of justice, but it could never erase the pain or bring back those who were lost. Today, where the Murrah Building once stood, there is the Oklahoma City National Memorial and Museum. It's a place of quiet reflection and remembrance. The outdoor symbolic memorial features the gates of time, marking the moments before and after the blast. A reflecting pool runs where the street once was, and a field of 168 empty chairs, one for each person killed, stands as a silent, powerful tribute. The chairs are arranged in 9 rows, representing the 9 floors of the building, and the smaller chairs for the children are a particularly poignant reminder of the innocents destroyed. The 1995 Oklahoma City bombing was a defining moment in American history. It not only exposed the threat of domestic terrorism, but also revealed the incredible strength of the human spirit in the face of unspeakable tragedy. It reminded us that the bonds that unite us are far stronger than the forces of hatred that seek to tear us apart. The memory of those lost on that terrible April morning lives on, not just as a warning, but as an enduring symbol of resilience, unity, and hope. Thank you for watching.